Son with it. He says he owns a photo retouching studio in Evanston, and he also teaches classes. So let me tell you, if he got to do something at the FGS, the Federation of Genealogical Society conference, which there's 1,500 people there, you know he knows what he's talking about, because they don't suffer things lightly. He serves the genealogical community as a teacher and author. He's an author of 2 books, and Ask the Retoucher, a video blog. So, do we have your blog information anywhere?
Is it on the website?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll make sure that. And he published a photo registration course, which is out there, so we'll go through there. So I am going to turn this over to Eric. We are not turning lights off because they're either on or they're off. So, and there's no damping. So that's it. So I think we can see through here. Hopefully we'll be all right, okay?
All right, there it goes. I'm very grateful for waking up in the morning and being with you all. And I thank Teresa and the board, the volunteers, everyone I've been in contact with for giving me a chance over here for my first state conference in Iowa. How many of you are members of the Iowa State Genealogical Society? Great, great. There's a few hands that didn't go up, I think. How much is it to join?
$35.
For a year?
For a year.
That's good, $35 for a year. So those of you that haven't joined, or you know people that would benefit, definitely have them sign up. So we have a little saying here about prevention here. So we're just going to deal with 2 aspects. It says caring for originals, digitizing originals. Okay? So caring means what do I do with what I have? And digitizing deals with what do I do to preserve it in a digital format. Scanner, copy shot, etc. Now the best thing is to avoid restoring your pictures. So if you have them in good condition, where they are not literally soaked and full of mold, hold your pictures by the edges. Okay? So I have this picture here, and I have no gloves on, right? Here's my gloves, right? But I don't have gloves. Let's say I don't have gloves. This is how you hold your pictures. Real simple. I know a lot of y'all know this, but some don't know this. So I want to make sure I get everybody up to the same levels. Okay, if there is a border, you can touch the border, get away with it. If there is no border, you really got to try to hold it like a baby. Okay? Now you may think I just washed my hands, I haven't been eating any fried chicken, I have no oil. No, you do. You do leave little bits of residue. It is important that you not stick your finger where the image is. If you have negatives, if you have any negatives, and that includes slides, all right? Because slides are basically just positives. They're the opposite of a negative. These are original images on the emulsion of film. You really need to keep these things in a cool, dry space. And when I say cool and dry, I'm talking about 50% humidity. Not too dry, not too humid. Okay? If it's going to go upstairs somewhere or in the basement, you should have some kind of climate control, dehumidifier, air conditioning, etc. These prints that you may have, the same rule applies. But if you keep those negatives just right, they'll last a long time. If they get stuck in a humid area, they will eventually stick to each other if they are not in a negative sheet protector. So if you're not sure what to do with these negatives and they're stuck in the paper and you're worried about the paper envelope they're in or the box they're in, you have to get the archival quality negative protectors. Okay, and they just slide in like this. Unfortunately, I don't have one with me, but it's very much like this, but there's pockets to slide it in. If you have larger negatives, you have to do the same thing. All right. Now, a lot of times we have to use adhesives for photo albums, even with new pictures. You should use archival quality adhesives. So you have archivers or scrapbook stores, whatnot. You know, you're genealogists, you're familiar with these people who offer these services. You should stick with it. The tape, the rubber cement, this is just not good for your images at all. All right? When you use your albums, when you display, store your photos, it's important to use an archival quality, PVC-free, even lignin-free if you can get that, type of album. Box, envelope, sleeve. If someone hires me to do a photo restoration, I put the prints for the restored image in archival envelopes. And I tell the customer that this is an archival envelope. You can leave the print in there and not worry about it being stained by the paper. Okay, the manila file folders are not really safe. Plastic bags are not safe. Ziploc bags are not safe. Typically, these are not PVC-free. Polyvinyl chloride is a petroleum product. Think about it, a petroleum product with your pictures. Oil, okay? The other thing that we don't realize until many years later is that the sun will fade all your pictures. Okay? If they're colored, it will just make the colors fade away. Keep your pictures out of the sun. We have a hallway in our home that gets no sunlight. Well, that's where the photos go. I will say this. If you have an original, keep it hidden away. Make a nice copy of that original. Scan it yourself or take it to the photo lab, Walmart, or wherever, and then display that copy. And in fact, go ahead and display it on the refrigerator in the kitchen with all that sunlight. And then when it fades, you just make another copy of the original. It's really not that hard. But seriously, today when you get home, if you've got anything that gets even a little bit of sunlight, even if it's not direct, harsh sunlight, it's time to move it. All right, so we have a little thing up here that you can read now. And this is from your handout. And we have some keywords here. I said archival quality. So archival quality means typically the length of a material's life between 50 and 100 years. So that should take care of your generation and part of the next generation. So you're going to have to teach them all this stuff. Tell them they got to be responsible to migrate this stuff to the next level. PVC, we talked about that. Lignin is just part of the organic matter of wood. And of course, wood, paper is organic. It will break down. But these are things, if you can find something that's lignin-free, if it's a paper product, you can trust it. That it's not going to stain or turn everything different colors. At least very quickly. Now when we have our images digitized, okay, we have usually options, and we like to back things up, or at least we like to think we back things up in archive things. On CDs and DVDs. So we see what? Anybody know all the different types of CDs and DVDs out there? We have minus and plus and RW, and et cetera, et cetera. I prefer to stick with DVD-R. It seems to be most computers of various ages with DVD-ROM drives seem to be able to read it just fine. Sometimes I've had problems with the +R. There's the RW, rewritable. Has anyone archived any of their work, their research, their images on a rewritable, on a CD or DVD RW? Raise your hand. Okay, so those of you that have done that, I need you to eventually copy those over to a DVD-R or +R if you have that. Why do I say that? The rewritable surface of your DVD-RW is very fragile. It's more sensitive than the DVD. So you know when you rented a movie from the library or something, it's not playing, it's stuck. And you take it out and you see all the scratches. The DVD-RW is so sensitive you might not even see the scratches. I use the DVD-RW to transfer files back and forth with my mom. She helps out. So we'll take scans, and she'll give me a bunch of scans, and we'll go back and forth like that. But your RWs are not archival quality, so I want you to put it on your to-do list to transfer or migrate those over. Now, what's nice about archiving your images on the DVD-R is an optical, it's what you call optical media. That is, it is written with a laser, with laser optics. So it's permanently etched into the disk. As long as the disk is kept out of direct sunlight at extreme temperatures, it is also archival quality. It should last a long time. Now, how many of you have images? I'm going to raise my hand on this too. But I don't have a lot. But how many of you have images on your hard drives that are not yet archived on a disk? Yeah. Okay. So, think of it this way. Your hard drives are not archival quality. Anybody know why? Raise your hand. Hey, you're supposed to raise your hand. Raise your hand if you know. Yes, ma'am. It could crash, but what else? I just want to be real nerdy with you. And it's magnetic. And this planet that we're on, I mean, just the air we breathe is kept in here. The atmosphere is kept in here by what? Magnetic forces in the core of the planet. So you have ambient magnetic forces. So that means no matter what, even if it's a super hard drive guaranteed for 10,000 years, eventually all that data is going to be scrambled. Okay? So yeah, you could have a crash, you could have all kinds of things. So you got to get a program together to do that. I discussed that in one of my books, but you got to find a way that works for you as well. Okay.
What about SD cards?
Okay, SD cards. So an SD card is a kind of what you would call like a flash media. It's a little thing like this, right? You also have thumb drives, USB drives, right? These are flash media. These can get corrupted pretty easily, okay? I would not recommend you use them as an archival quality storage device. Use it, go ahead, but back it up. Because these things, they're flash media, but they're not reliable as your optical media is, okay? Now, when you do your optical media, when you make a DVD, How many of you still burn CDs? I'm just curious. Okay, so when you make a CD or a DVD of images, of documents, files, you should actually make 2 of the same thing. I do this all the time for myself. And my customer images are backed up, archived twice. The reason being, well, if I have archive number 87, and all of a sudden, the 10% failure rate of DVDs and CDs applies to me for the day, and that happens to be part of the 10%, I can't pull files off of it, or the files I want to get from it, I can't get them off, because something happened. I have a second disk. Okay? The second disk should be stored right next to the first disk, right? Okay, good. Good. Just check. I know this is a little dry, not very, but it's kind of technical, but I want to make sure you're awake. So you should store it at someone else's house. Don't keep it in your house. So I sent a bunch of photo archives to my sister in North Carolina, and I have all of my second sets of basically customer work at my mom's house, which is about 4 or 5 blocks away. So if there's a tornado that goes through everywhere, well, you know, we're both out of luck. But I figure at least if my house burns down, we'll be okay. All right.
So external hard drives?
So external hard drives are useful as backup drives. Notice I said backup. I don't use backup and archive as the same. They are not the same. Your backup should be your working daily, weekly copy of what's on your hard drive, in case your main hard drive or your startup drive fails. Okay? And it will fail probably. How many of you have had that happen to you? Yeah, look at that. Me too. So, you know, your external hard drive, it's tempting to go and dump a bunch of new stuff on there. You can do that. But make sure you have another hard drive. It backs up everything. And you can get your system. How many of you have Macintosh? Okay. How many of you PC? Mostly everybody. Okay. So I know on Macintosh, I rely on Time Machine to back up to a 3 terabyte RAID. Your PC, there's lots of different programs where it will back up automatically for you. Just your documents if you want. It won't even back up the system if you don't want it to. But at least your documents, your files, your emails. Okay? These kinds of things. Now, we have the things to avoid, and I already kind of mentioned that. The writing on originals I wanted to talk about. There's lots of photo-safe pens and magic markers, but it's really not necessary to write in photos. And I'd like to show you some things. I had some great examples here. What I thought was very responsible labeling of images. Here, see, I got prepared ahead of time. Yeah, I'm okay. All right. So here is a really great example. And I think I have another sample of it too. But here's the original. Okay? Looks like original. Yeah, it's original. Okay? And here's a color copy. And here's some writing on the back of the picture. Not only can you write on the back of a copy, you can write in the front too. And you can put a mustache and glasses in. And you keep them together. Okay? Or, I had one customer, and he actually, what he did, is he put them in separate sheet protectors. You know? So when you open it up, hey, there's so-and-so and so-and-so. And it's written on the front. You know, and he actually circled them and put a line. You know. And if you want to be real cool about it, you can do it in something like Photoshop where you have the text called out if you want, if you're that experienced with it. Now, if you have to write on it, I wanted to mention that. If you have to write on an original, okay, this original is written right here in the middle. Now, luckily, this is a hard board, right? But imagine if this is just the print. What do you think would happen on the front? Yeah. Now, they did it in pencil. That's good. But still, it's going to leave an impression. So, I got to write on it, Eric. Please. Understand. No problem. If you see where there's no faces and no details that are important, then you write on the back of the picture up there. Across. You can even write all the way across here like that. Okay? Now, if you have to write on the front, I don't know. But if you have to, again, right here, along the sides. Stay off of people's faces. Because it's a lot of work to restore faces. It's a lot of work. I mean, I don't care how good you think you are. You know, it's hard work. Now this one I put in here. Okay, I'm going to just slide this back here just for now. Right, so I did this one. All right. Now we have, again, the paperclip thing. Just watch out for that. Dirt. You know about all that stuff. So, I'd like to talk in the group here. Got any product recommendations for archival quality, storage for your images, for your documents? Anybody out there that would like to share what they found? Anything? Okay. Yes?
Were you saying that, I was looking at the thing before with archive,
Uh-huh.
does that mean that's not good? I've got a lot with the archive.
Okay, what I'm saying to avoid is containers that are not archival. If it doesn't say, if it's not labeled archival, you got to be careful. Okay? I know collective memories. What am I? Creative memories. They work really hard to give you everything archival quality. You're pretty much set with them. Okay? All right, so my recommendation to you is one of the best websites is companies is Light Impressions. Okay? A lot of you have heard of Light Impressions.
No.
LightImpressionsDirect.com.
Thank you.
These are museums that I think you might even bought things from them for the library, right? Probably. I mean, even smaller libraries, archives do this.
Are products listed on your website?
No, they're not. But Light Impressions is like top of the line, so you'd be set right there. I don't have any particular recommendations. Now, let's see, on screen, I think I have, oh, great. So on screen I have it too. Great. I try to keep my PowerPoint and my syllabus, a little different. So it's not like I'm just reading what you're looking at. But these links here, if you don't have it on your page, you don't. Okay. You can write these down. I will leave this up for now. All right. So I have a little bit of time. I would like to take a couple questions, and then I have a little extra bonus presentation I want to squeeze in if I can. So let's do this. I'm going to go here around, okay? So next, remember to, I think I'll remember your faces. Yes, ma'am.
In labeling pictures or writing on pictures, I have not done it personally. I've seen people use separate labels and then write on the label and put it on the back of the photo. How do you feel about that?
So what kind of labels are these? Do you know?
The ones I saw were like adhesive labels, you know, 1 by 3 inches.
You know, my first question is, are these archival quality adhesive labels? Or are they just post-it notes? Generally, these labels, what I've experienced is they fall off. Before they ruin anything, they just lose their adhesiveness. Yeah, I'd say be careful with those kind of things. I wouldn't do it. I like the copy part. You know, copy it and write in the copy, keep the copy. So we had the next, yes ma'am, in the blue, yes.
I have a photo album of my 1960s Kodachrome color.
Yes.
And so there's 4 on each page, pages were shot, absolutely stuff. So
That's what makes it
how do you, is there any way, now I read online some ways to get those unstuck.
Yeah.
And they basically said, soak them in water till they, don't touch them until they decide to come loose and then dry.
Yeah.
Which is scary, but it works.
Yeah.
Is that what do you think about that?
Okay, so this brings up this image here. Okay, we're talking about an image where
Yeah.
there's nothing, you can't, the faces of the images, the fronts of the images are stuck together, right?
Try to peel them apart.
Yeah. Yeah, the water is the first thing that comes to mind for me. Because photos are born in water. That's right. They will die in water. But when you get them apart, there's still a chance they'll be ruined anyways. But that's the only way to do it. You can try steam. You can try steam.
As long as you absolutely don't touch them until they float apart.
Yeah,
About
yeah.
90% is good.
Don't rush them.
Yeah.
Don't touch them until they come apart by themselves. Gravity, whatever, motion. Yeah, exactly. Because there'll still be dry spots. Here's an image that was possibly mounted on glass. Whose image is this? It's one of you. It's yours. Okay, so do you know what the story is behind about this glass on the... So this appears to me to be a carte de visite type of drawing and photo. And they mounted it to the glass. So right away I thought, well, this reminded me of a picture I had from a customer. They had a wedding portrait. It was caught in a fire. The fire was put out, but of course the picture was soaked because the fire was put out. So it had heat damage and water damage. So the image was stuck to the glass, right? So right away, I'm thinking, let me put it in the water, separate the pieces and whatnot. Before you do that, if you can see it, even if it's stuck to glass or stuck to another image, where you can see some of the image, scan it first. Because you preserved it at that state. Then do your water thing, your water torture. Okay? So scan it first, if possible. I would say that. Okay, we had it. Yes, sir, in the back.
Do you have any hints on preserving glass negatives and oversized?
So glass negatives need to be cased. You need to get cases for them. And I believe Light Impressions or one of these sites should be able to provide that. You might need to box them and then somehow keep them from shifting. And these glass negatives are what, 8 by 10?
No, 4 by 5.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes what we think is a glass negative is actually an ambrotype.
No,
These are definitely, okay. We're part of an ambrotype. Okay. All right. So we had another question back here. Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
What's the best way to get prints from?
From the negative? From the glass negative, right? Well, you have to scan it with a scanner that can handle transparencies.
Yeah.
Okay? So you're going to go up a price level for that.
Yeah.
But it's worth it. Because it's just, all it is a negative. And you need it on a transparency adapter. Yes, sir.
You say that we should be using DVDs and CDs, and they might last a nice long time. But what about, we've seen technology advance so fast that all of a sudden we can't read our media because it's on a Super 8 or it's on
Yep. You have to migrate it to the next one. It appears to me the trend now is going to the cloud. So what does that do for us who have our own, who produce our own digital media? Nothing. You know what I mean? So what we have to do, we actually have to work harder to keep moving to the next level. Will it be Blu-ray? Will it be the DVD R2, the dual layer? Dual layers right now are not listed as archival. Blu-ray, same thing. Also redundancy. So that means having prints, having hard copies. Okay, let all the digital stuff disappear. You got a hard copy, you're okay. All right? Does that help?
That certainly helps, but it shows the problem.
Yeah, it's a real problem. You have to, I mean, you know, I had some nice music I recorded from the radio on 8-track. You know, and then cassette. Now I just digitized a whole bunch of audio cassettes. And I still got more music I got to digitize. So you got it. You also, one other thing, this cloud thing. We're all going to have our own cloud in our house. Seriously, you know, where everything goes to that, and you have your backup system, and you archive it on optical media. It's kind of like the price of doing business when preserving your family history. You know, and it's going to require us to get more technical. Yes, sir, in the back.
You were talking about the photos.
Oh, good to see you again, by the way.
You're talking about photos being stuck together. I also have a situation similar, but my parents had put photos into these albums that had like what's called magnetic, and that kind of little sticky dummy.
Yeah.
And now these photos are stuck on there. You want to get them off. And do you have any suggestions?
A chisel. No. I say scan them. Can you at least get the plastic cover? Scan them like that. Now, is there's stuff on the back of the pictures? Do you know? Might be, might not. I'd say take the plastic off. If it comes off easy, you just scan them right there on your flatbed, crop them later in your photo editing program, and just accept it. You know, that's what they left you with. Better than nothing.
Hair dryer softens them.
Hair dryer
Yeah,
softens.
floss underneath it.
Floss. Interesting. Take some dental floss. It kind of didn't work for you.
And I've tried dental floss, and I've tried putting them in the freezer to make them.
Yeah.
I've tried everything but soaking them in water, and I don't know how to do
Yeah,
that.
boy. Yeah, that's. Sometimes you just gotta live with it as it is. It's not bad if you can see the image. You just scan it, you know. And what's nice about scanning is you preserve it right there. As the original phase or whatever, it's eaten up by mold or mice. Hey, you still scanned it as it was. Yes, someone over there. Yes.
I heard one time that you shouldn't use a copy machine to make copies of pictures because the light damages the pictures.
Yeah, this is a real thing in museums. Certain times there's certain artifacts and documents and images, please, no flash. It's real, it's light. Yeah,
So how is that different than using a scanner?
not very different at all. You're going to scan, but think of it this way. You're going to scan one time.
Yeah.
And hopefully correctly after today. And if not, get my course, you'll be scanning right. You'll know about resolution already with the drills I have. But, you know, we should.
But in like a museum or a library, there's several scans. You could have. Right, you could have.
Well, in the museum, let's say for example, you know, Iowa State Genealogical Society has, you know, some pictures of some of the stores here when they were first built and occupied. The society has to scan them and then make those scans available. That way the original won't be scanned anymore. You know what I mean? You know, so you need a volunteer. Okay, yes?
Okay, for scanning, when I scan, do I need to set the resolution and the dimension?
Yeah, I want to get into that next, but not right now. Not now. Okay? I don't want to get into that now. We got that next. Okay, yes.
A flash drive, I shouldn't that have.
Okay, the flash drive can be a backup. A backup. What I mean by that is it's a backup of something you already have. But it's not archival. It's not an archive that you can depend on. If it's all you have to pass on to the next person, the next generation, well, that's what you have. Well, make another flash drive. So there's two. The flash drive shouldn't be the only spot for that particular set of images. It should be redundancy. Redundancy, redundancy. And have a way to track it. It's easy to do if you put your mind to it. But it does take some brain power and some headaches. Okay. So what yes? Uh-huh. Go ahead.
The quality, I know that the old photos from 150 years ago,
Okay.
they're well maintained, they seem to stay stable. What's the stability of the color photos and the photos that we're printing off now off of printers onto paper and that kind of
So what's the archival lifetime of all these different media that we have our images on? Regarding the images that were made in darkrooms, wet darkroom, conventional manual process, it all depends on the chemistry that was used. Was the picture fixed? If it's a black and white, was it fixed properly? And was the fixer clean? Okay. Color, same thing with the chemistry. How stable was that chemistry? Was it a Cibachrome print? Was it a Kodak print? I mean, these kinds of things are hard to figure out. It seems there was a period in the 70s, in the early 70s, late 60s, where you get your prints made from your instant camera, not like a Polaroid, but little camera. I forgot what they call it. Instamatic maybe. But they printed them on these dimple textured papers. So that if you put your finger on, you don't really see a fingerprint. But eventually you do. And they are a real pain to scan. And I didn't find one, but in your submissions here. But these seem to fade really fast. So you got to scan those in. It seems like everyone in my generation, you know, that was born in the early 70s, it's like we have these of ourselves as babies. And the color's gone. They're like yellow or red, you know. And they're sitting in photo albums. So you got to scan those things in right away. Now, inkjet prints. Inkjet technology is still new. It's over 10 years old. And the inks especially are good. If you're going to make good copies, print good copies of your scans of photos, you have to use the manufacturer's ink. Do not use the third party, hey, cheap refill, stick it in there, it only costs $5 less. You can do that for your receipts, for your taxes. Really, I don't even think it's worth it for that because them things clog up and it's just a mess. The sales people, they call you about it, like, stop calling me, they don't buy your junk. So if you have an Epson printer, you should get Epson ink. If you have an HP printer, you should get HP ink. If you have Canon, you should get Canon. Okay? You don't refill them. Just recycle them, please. Definitely recycle. Somebody's going to use it for something. Okay? But don't throw it in the trash. So what do? I have these pictures I need to print. I want to give out prints. I want to put them in an album. I want to preserve redundant copies, right? I suggest that you have them printed at a lab. What are some of the popular, name a lab here in Des Moines that? Christian Photo, okay? So, Christian Photo, we hope that everyone can go there. But, sorry, bad joke. What's their last name? You never know, you know. But it's a good name to have, for sure. It's a good name to have, no doubt about it. I had another ridiculous thing that popped into my head. I'll keep it in there. You should have your prints done there. Because they actually print them. They actually print them on photographic paper. Generally, these last, because they spend good money on a nice machine. It prints on photographic paper. Typically Fuji or Kodak paper. Check with them. Say, what kind of paper do you print this on? You know. Shutterfly is nice, shutterfly.com. They have very nice prints. I mean, we have some prints, and you know, Kodak used to have an online service. We have some prints that have been on the refrigerator in the kitchen for almost 10 years. They're looking pretty good, you know? So that's what I recommend. That's what I recommend. So we are, as far as time, it's 10 o'clock. So when does this end? Good. So I wanted to add something. Oh, we got some more questions? That's fine.
Do you find it preferable to go to a local lab or to do it at Walgreens? Do you think archivally they're on the same level or not?
Well, again, it depends on the... Walgreens, yeah. I think Walgreens is pretty standard. We get prints. We've gotten prints from Walgreens, Target, CVS. No, yes, CVS right here. No.
There will be.
Uh-oh, it's coming.
Costco, you get a Costco membership.
Costco, yeah, these places, they invest some pretty good money in a decent machine. The key is to find out what kind of paper they print on. And I'm a stickler for brand name right now, so I like Kodak and Fuji. You know, are they printing on Kodak or Fuji paper? Of course, Kodak, who knows how long that's going to last. What kind of things they might pull for quality, you know. Okay, we had some more hand. Ms. Phillips, you had your hand up.
I did. Well, I want to go back to storage in that we, at one time, used an Advantic style camera, and if negatives come back to us in a canister, are we only concerned about, the storage of it?
Advantics, wow, yeah, I forgot about Advantics.
Well, and then we had these disc cameras.
Yeah, the disc cameras, whoa.
Oh, you probably were still in grade school.
Yeah, I was
in
in
the 70s.
Early 80s, disc camera was the rage still.
I was thinking it was earlier than that, but whatever.
Yeah, Advantics is newer though.
Yes.
Advantics is more
But they're
recent.
no longer available.
No longer available.
And I have hundreds of these.
Oh, really?
I should just maybe take them to Walmart and
ask them, they might have an adapter. They might have an adapter that allows them to scan the Advantage. Yeah. Minolta had a scanner. I used to have a Minolta scanner that actually had an Advantix cartridge where you could just pop it in and it would digitize it from there. Yeah, do something with those, please. And the disc cameras, boy, those little negatives, they were little. You know? This scanner I have here is just a flatbed with a reflective glass here. You need a scanner that has two glasses. So it has the top glass, and then it's got a tray that you pull out with glass. And then you can put any size negative in there and scan it. It's really the only way around it right now. And maybe finding someone that can do it too. And test them out first. Come on, these are your pictures, you're going to spend money. Make sure the scans are good.
And then I have negatives that are still in the celluloid sleeve that are those sleeves archived?
Yeah, generally those sleeves are okay. Just take a look at the negatives, make sure they're in good shape. If you want to switch them out into a page, it would be easier to look at them with a loop, you know.
Yeah, loop.
Okay, with a little magnifying loop, you know.
Okay, thank you.
Well, yes, ma'am. If I'm skipping, someone help me if I keep passing someone over. It's like, well, what about this person? They've had their hand up for 2 hours. Okay, so Becky, yeah.
My husband's father was in World War I or II, and his grandmother in World War I. And we have the big, long serviceman pictures, you know, that are now rolled up real tight. Can they be unrolled? That's my first question. And then I suppose if they can, we could try and make a copy of the card.
Yeah, so she has a nice, brigade, military brigade type portrait. These were very long, they were shot. The camera's here, they're shooting. And it's all rolled up. Well, I say you got a nice telescope. But, no, seriously. It takes some time, but if you can get that thing open a little bit, okay? You take like a little, she got one right here.
This is my grandmother's.
Yeah, bring that here,
Wedding
please.
picture, it's rolled up like that.
Yeah.
My dad did.
Yeah. She got a telescope right here. Okay, and you've taped it up. Where someone just taped the edges. God bless her, she just wanted to preserve it. She just wanted to preserve. It's like, back in the 50s, it's like, oh, DDT. All over the house.
Luckily, no, I do have a smaller one that's
Okay, so here's what I recommend. So we have, this is good. So this is a harmless plastic case, right? So I would take it and I would put it here like this and let it sit. Next week, I'd get another one, and it would go here. Got it? See what it's doing? We're trying to say, okay, well, how many years did you take to get this tight, right? It's like one says, well, I've been here like this for decades. So maybe you've got to take some weeks and months to slowly unravel. I think this is going to do fine because the paper is actually quite light. It's the papers that are mounted or that are thicker that tend to crack and fall apart. Now, just because it cracks and falls apart doesn't mean you can't do anything with it. I mean, this is an extreme case, not exactly the same, but, right in their faces, it's split, right? So let's pretend this was rolled up and you unrolled and, ooh, well, you have to scan the parts and put it together. I hope to get into that. So let's, yes, ma'am. Or was it what you had one? So who was there? Someone who did? Yes.
How about preserving and packing tin types?
So tintypes, okay, tintypes are just like any other original, okay? But the thing is, other images tend to get light, regular tintypes go dark. So you got to scan those in right away. But treat them like you would anything else. You know, these are originals. So, yes.
I just want to make the comment that not all Walgreens are the same. As far as pictures go, sometimes these young kids get in there and they think they know what they're doing, and I almost missed my plane because of getting my passport redone, and I told them no, this is fine. Had to redo the whole thing.
Not all Walgreens are the same. So, especially when you need a passport thing. You know, you get what you pay for, okay? Unfortunately. And sometimes, you know, you find someone like myself who's extremely pricey, but it's like, well, I know what I'm doing. But the other folks, we hope they know what they're doing. We got to have some faith in them. Yes?
40s and 50s pictures are real small. I do have them in like the Creative Memories box.
You said 40s and 50s, what do you mean? 1940s?
Yeah.
Oh!
Not the real old one.
Not the 1840s.
Yeah. I have some of those also.
Oh, yes.
I have them in like the Creative Memories boxes, but how do you separate what kind of paper should you put in between, or should you put paper in between each photo?
Well, okay, so you got the Creative Memories box, so it's basically like a filing box, right? So I think they have dividers.
Plastic dividers,
Yeah.
but I don't want to put all plastic dividers between each photo.
Right. So you need, okay, I got you. Well, you just got to find some acid-free paper, okay? Acid-free paper to go in between them, and you can write. There's archival quality pens too that don't really leak it, so try to get those too. But that's not a license to write in your photos.
No, that's right on the paper.
Right. Okay. So we had some more in there. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is a suggestion. I had a few tintypes, and I took them to Alec. Well, first I called HP about scanning them myself. They said, well, the tintypes can scratch glass. So then I took them to Alexander's, and they scanned some for me.
Okay.
Well, then I ran into some more tintypes, and it was going to be too expensive.
Okay.
So I took regular corrugated cardboard and cut a hole in it the size of the tintype that I had. Put that between the tintype and my glass on my scanner, and scanned my tintypes. And that worked.
And so the corrugated cardboard that you had cut to fit, what advantage did that give?
It kept it off the glass. The tintype was not touching the glass itself to scratch it. And the pictures turned out fine. Because HP told me if I put the tintype directly on the glass, that could scratch the glass.
It could, yes.
So.
Yes. It could scratch the glass, but
Just regular cardboard.
Yeah, use the cardboard.
Just regular, and I
Okay.
cut a hole the size of the tintype. Because some of my tintypes were different sizes.
Yeah.
So I had different pieces of cardboard and
Okay.
then
So
laid
you
the
created
tintype.
kind of like a mat, like a mat board, like a little mat board.
Yeah.
And I would say you probably wouldn't even have to use corrugated cardboard. You could use, any thin type of cardboard too.
Yeah.
The problem with the corrugated that I'm concerned about is it's kind of thick,
Yeah.
and that could affect sharpness when it's being scanned.
I
Say,
say,
my pictures look great. And
I have to
then
see
what I did with my tintypes is, one of the dealers here one time was selling little bitty archival envelopes.
Yeah.
And so I printed off a picture of the tintype,
Yeah.
put the tintype in that,
Yeah.
and put the picture, so
Well, I'm Mr. Skeptic today, but I like your idea. I like it, but I'm very curious. I would like to see one original and then one scan.
okay.
But great, good.
They're 20 miles away.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, does anyone have the Flip Pal?
I have it with me.
Okay, good. All right. I want to tell you this right now, and no one wants to talk about it, and it irks me that people are pushing this thing and they're not telling you the truth.
First of all, what is flip pal?
Can you show us the flip? Can you lift it up? It's a little scanner that you can take with you anywhere. And you can scan a map, you can scan a photo, you can scan a painting, and you just go like this. Right? It's wonderful. Except the software. Okay, the software, okay, you'll scan it in at 600 pixels per inch. Great.
But it's better than nothing.
And let me get to my point. You know, just let me get to my point. Hold on. Hey, this is becoming like the abortion debate, okay? And even though I wrote a blog about it, and I had genealogists who say, wow, I didn't know, thanks for telling me. No one wants to talk about it, especially because there's almost every genealogist is becoming an affiliate to make money from this thing. So I'm in trouble. But they can fix it. Okay, so anyway, you take the lid off here if you want, or you can just put your prints on there. It's a great little device, and it saves directly to an SD card, which hopefully you're not keeping your pictures on the SD card. You're copying them. It scans it in 600 or 300 pixels per inch. There's no reason why you need to scan it in 300. Scan it in 600. We'll get to that later. Why? We'll get to that later. But let me just tell you, if you get the flip pad, you've got to scan it in 600. The problem with this right now, as of this date, is when you use the stitching software. That is, let's say this is my map, and I've scanned the parts. Oops, wrong way. You know, I've done this, right? Right? I've scanned it. It's really cool. Then, it has a little software where it will put all of those together to make one image. But it downsizes it to 300 pixels, which cuts the resolution in half. And they will tell you it doesn't make a difference. But I'm telling you, I'm a photo retoucher. I work on pictures every day. I make a living. She cooks the food from the money that I earn working on pictures. I work with photographers, ad agencies, publishers. The majority of my work is commercial work. Okay? So, I know what I'm talking about. The stitching software will downsample. So you have to be responsible. And Ms. Blair, I'm telling you, keep your source scans. So if you do an oversize, okay, or even if it's, this would have to be an oversize.
Yes.
Okay? You would have to scan that in parts. Keep the source file. Keep the source file. That's the 600 pixel per inch pieces that you scan. Let the stitching software do its thing and print it and look at it and say, wow. But it cuts the detail. And I'm telling you, it makes a big difference. And I hope to be able to show you that today. What a difference it makes when you cut the resolution like that. Okay? And it's a bug in their software. They've admitted it to me. But, you know, they keep telling you, it's okay. All right? It's not okay. I'm sorry. So just do that, please. So those, I don't know about that. That scanner, what scanner is that called?
The viewpoint.
Yeah, I haven't tested the viewpoint. But as long as you can control what you're doing, as long as it's not doing stuff for you, telling you, oh yeah, we're making this. We're going to make a stitch file at this resolution. You know, you should do the stitch file yourself, in my opinion, but that's me. Okay, but please don't not buy it. Just keep in mind, I'm not telling you not to buy it, I'm just saying keep the source files. Because if you use Photoshop or Photoshop Elements, it has a photo merge thing that will do it for you. Okay? And it will keep the resolution. Yes, sir, Beth.
Going back to the daguerreotypes and tintypes and anglotypes and so on that are case. I mean, that there is a gap if you're going to scan them.
How do you scan the tintype and the ambrotypes? In the case. The case images, yeah. Yeah, you gotta take them out.
Yeah.
You gotta take them apart. Peel them, you gotta open up the foil.
Yeah.
But what I do, you can even try a copy shot with a nice camera too, if you don't want to do that. Okay? And you said those polka dots. Where's our polka dot friend? Oh, polka dot. That's you, yes. look at the polka dots.
I was concerned about something that you did there.
Okay.
When you were talking about labeling and how somebody had made a copy and kept it with the photo. But I don't like that because most of your copy paper is not going to be archival quality, so you're putting non-archival quality paper with your original, and I'm concerned about the ink being left with the original.
Great. Okay, so her concern is, okay, look, if I'm going to take, if I'm going to do what you said, and I'm going to have a copy and the original, and I'm going to write in the copy, this is going to be either laser paper or it's going to be inkjet paper, and it's not archival quality. Well, that's why I was saying, if you can put it in a sheet protector. You're going to have to get more sheet protectors. But hey,
They're cheap.
Yeah, but you can't leave it up
it'll
against
keep,
your...
right, yeah, don't put the, I'm sorry, I was being sloppy. I wouldn't have done that myself.
I know.
But thanks for pointing that out. So don't take this copy and stick it where it's actually touching, has contact with your original. Because then you might have problems. You might even have, like with a laser, you might even have the toner start to stick to the picture. Especially if it's a black and white laser. You know black and white lasers love to stick to everything. Okay? So please keep it in the sleeve. Okay? It's worth it. Yeah.
And my family did have a really interesting way. My mom gave me a bunch of pictures, and they had a really interesting way of labeling that I thought was very handy and didn't mar the front of the photo. They typed on a piece of paper and folded it up from the back side up to the front. Now, I would only do it with an archival quality paper at this point in time, but there was just a piece of tape on the back.
Yeah.
And then it folded up over the front so that all the names and everything were there, but there was nothing printed or written on any part of the photo, and I loved that. It was
typing it up.
so
I wish you had it. I'd like to see it. Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of ways to do these things. Did you bring your?
I brought my whole thing.
You brought your own goods, so we want to deal with that soon. Okay. Yes.
When you're making a hard copy print of your original photo, the quality of the paper that you use, the better the quality, the higher the cost. Do you need to, like, if you get photo paper to make a copy of your photo, you can get some really cheap stuff at Walmart, or you can get some really good stuff. Do you get one of the photo paper?
Okay, so you have an inkjet printer, okay, and you want to print out some photos you've scanned or shot with your camera, okay. I recommend that you definitely get the manufacturer's paper. So if it's an Epson printer, Epson paper, just like with the ink.
Like the photo paper, using the photo paper, not just a regular copy.
Yeah. You want to get, there's different types of photo paper that are like semi-gloss and gloss. Here's a little thing for you. If you're not sure about what kind of paper to print on, whether it should be matte, semi-gloss, or glossy, okay? Matte is really nice because there's no gloss. And it usually lasts longer, that type of inkjet paper. The semi-gloss is great for giving out prints. Because when someone puts that fried chicken thumb on there, it doesn't really show so well. Glossy, which is pure shiny, is good for your frames behind the glass in your frame. Looks really nice and crisp. If you put a semi-gloss in a frame behind glass, it's kind of fuzzy looking. You can't see the detail like you can with gloss. Okay? So this is something I wanted to throw out there. Okay. Yes?
Do you have any comments on videotape?
Videotape? What is that? No, I'm kidding.
Videotapes of my children from the mid-80s.
Yeah. Okay, videotape, again, is magnetic media. So it is degrading over time. Just the Earth's natural magnetic forces are just tugging away. So you've got to digitize those. You've got to take those to a place or do it yourself. Okay? I have done some myself. Okay? I don't offer it as a service. I just done it for personal things. So it can be done. If you got a player, the right cable and the right software, you can do it easy. Okay? There's also some neat, maybe at Best Buy, I don't know if they sell them anymore. Do you have a Best Buy around?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I forget, I'm in a different state.
We're almost uptown.
But sometimes they sell the unit that has a videotape and a DVD, and it's just you press a button and it transfers to DVD.
And that would be of acceptable quality?
Yeah. At least in my opinion, you want the best. Well, you got to pay for that. So you look online and they will actually scan the images. Not like prop a camera on a projector screen. They will actually scan those images. They will do a digital transfer.
Christian Photos and Alexander's and Costco,
Okay.
and there's other places that will do it, but it isn't.
So Christians, Alexander, all these places, they offer it. And they outsource it. They don't do it back there, they send it out. So you got to know, you got to be aware.
It just says put it on video here.
Yes, put it
Puts it on DVD.
Okay, who is that?
Put it on video.
There's actually several places.
There's several places, including a company named Put It On Video.
And you need to call around because I'm going to tell you there's a lot of difference in prices.
Yeah. So you want to know, for your VHS, you want to know, how do you transfer it? Oh, we use digital technology. Yes, so do I. I have a cell phone here. I can make a movie of the movie, right? So you got to know what they mean by that. Like I said, you might just be better off. I bought a tape deck, a real fancy Yamaha tape deck, just to transfer all my audio tapes. It cost almost $300. But to me, with all the nice music and the tapes I made when I was little, like of me interviewing my mother when I was 5 years old, to me it's worth it. And I use it one time. Okay, it's another question. Some other hand. Yes, sir.
For story, I suppose, what if all I own are approximately 1990 supposed top of the art color photocopies of those prints you have on your table, of the 100-year-old photos, which look pretty good today to look at.
Yeah.
Any help for?
So did you work?
They have pretty good pixels.
Were you in a office services division
No,
somewhere?
I'm horribly challenged by
Okay.
this and don't do it myself.
I remember in the 90s.
Commercial photocopiers places, the copy centers, were beginning to offer to the general public color photocopies, and that's been Grandpa died, and the photos have now been physically divided to the dozens in South Dakota and this and that and the other. I had access to it, so I wholesale.
Good.
Dollar.
Okay.
Color photocopies.
Okay. You have color photocopies, which are laser copies, I believe. These are, and I forgot if it was the Kodak machine, but in the 90s, actually my mom brought a lot of those into the company she was working, and I had prints I had made in college of, these basketball players like, what's his name, Michael Jordan or something. And she made copies, to give to people. And they were really good, and they're still doing well today. If that's all you have, that's all you have.
They're pretty good.
But
Can those be digitized okay?
that's what I was going to say. You got to scan them in anyways. Because that's all you got.
Right.
You need redundancy. That's the key.
Unfortunately, some of those have had later color photocopy prints made. Those were copies.
Yeah. Well, you can't get away from
I
that.
have maintained my original set, but I really have to.
Now, I want to tell you a couple other things because we're like two minutes left. Because we don't have it in your handout. got to tell you, and it's so important. Scanner quality. You get what you pay for. My recommendation for a scanner, if you're looking for one, is Epson. Okay? And be prepared to pay for a really good one. If you can, $300-400 isn't bad. If that's still too much, then go down a little bit to something like this that I have here. What this is, they don't make this one anymore. It's like one level up now. But you want one with a flatbed top and a tray for your transparencies. If you have negatives, glass negatives, silver gelatin, any of those types of negatives. Also, when you save your scans, for God's sake, save them as TIFF. T-I-F. Not JPEG. Please, stop saving in JPEG from here on. How many of you save in JPEG, right? Yeah? Sinner repent. Yeah, I'll tell you why. See, she doesn't just believe. She wants to know. All right, Reverend. Why? Okay, so JPEG is a format that is made to send images through the wires. The old days.
That's why I'm
right? Yeah. Well, the problem with that is it averages out data. It averages out color to make it small. And by doing that, you compromise detail and you compromise color. Now, if you save it at the highest quality JPEG, you won't really see a difference. You won't see a difference. If you can't control the quality of JPEG that you're saving it as, you definitely shouldn't be doing it. HP, their scanner software is notorious for giving you weird JPEG compression schemes. It's really hard to get around it. It takes some work. I can do it, but the average person can't. Epson gives you full control, but you can give up that full control with automatic. We'll get into that. So you need to save as TIFF, because TIFF is going to save all the data. As long as you have a high quality scanner, save it as a TIFF. Now sometimes, like in HP's case, it's still, for some reason, it's like, sometimes, I don't know, maybe it's saving as a JPEG and resaves as a TIFF. I still haven't figured it out. But we'll get into that. Give me 1 second, let me just check one thing. Yeah.
So JPEG's like making an MP3?
Yeah, good. JPEG is like an MP3. You notice the MP3 format of music sometimes sounds like they're gargling, like that. JPEG does that. It's called compression. Now, if you really kick yourself in the rear when you open a JPEG, work on it, save it, close it, open it, work on it, save it, close it. Every time you do that, it compresses it more. Compression upon compression. You can use a JPEG, just save it as a TIFF, then save a copy of the JPEG. Email that JPEG copy, throw it in the trash. Or put it on your website, your blog, your Facebook page, whatever. Don't put your tips in people's emails. That's going to make them mad, because those are big files. Okay? Now, TIFF is very standard. I think it's going to be around for a long time, in my opinion. Okay? Yes, and that's it after this.
Do you recommend a dedicated scanner then rather than a multi-purpose, stamp and print?
Yeah. I recommend a dedicated, if you have negatives and slides, I recommend a dedicated negative or slide, 35mm, like a Nikon. But Nikon isn't making it anymore. So you actually have to buy it used, and the prices are going through the roof. So, what that leads us to is getting a flatbed scanner. And I say get one with a transparency tray that pulls out. Not this this adaptive thing. If you have to go with an adaptive thing, then do that next. But definitely get the all-in-ones are nice for your business, for your office, documents. It's really, I use HP actually for my office, but I scan my drawings in. That's it. These are line drawings, so it doesn't matter. And my documents. So I think, okay, that's it. That's it. I gotta give this a break. Yes.
You have to be careful because I went to Christian, whatever.
Yeah.
Photos and asked to buy a scanner so I could scan negatives, and I explained what I had. They sold me a Canon scanner that has an attachment, and it does great for slides.
Yeah.
Negatives, but the negatives that I told them about, which were 3x3 or 4x5,
No.
I can't scan.
Okay, what next thing? I want you all to please, you got my information, my contact information, okay? When you're ready to go shopping, you can email me. If you got a question, you're a student of mine now, you know that. So now you can bother me. And I won't send an invoice. So you can say, hey, Eric, I still got that to this day. People from 10 years ago, something I did. Hey, what do you think of this? Go ahead and ask me. Because I kind of know a little bit about it. Okay? So thank you.
Thank you.
Make sure you visit the vendor.
Is actually, somebody bought this and gave it to us, worn out to new again. One of your...
I actually donated it.
Your donation. Okay, I wasn't sure where it came from. God love him. Okay.
I bought it for myself.